In this video, I am going to be interviewing my amazing business partner, Ross Maliu, who has sourced for him and his clients over 2,000 rent-to-rent property deals. My name's Liam Ryan, one of the co-founders of Assets for Life, and if you're new to this channel, please make sure you hit the subscribe and notification bell right now, and just hit that little like button because that helps the YouTube video and the algorithm, and it's gonna mean it's gonna reach more people. In this video, I'm about to interview my business partner, Ross Maliu, who has sourced over 2,000 rent-to-rent property deals for him and his clients. Ross, welcome to the show, buddy.
Thank you for having me.
It is amazing. Thanks for coming down. I know you've travelled a long way to get down here. Because where are you based in the UK?
So I'm based in Manchester.
In Manchester. Amazing. So we are going to talk about rent to rent. We're going to talk about serviced accommodation. Can you take us back to how you first got involved into property?
Yeah, so I'd always wanted to get into property. I tried every avenue possible to get into property, but it was always the same. You need experience, you need experience, you need experience. So I was working for a friend at the time, car audio business, selling all these boy racer kits to every man and his dog. And as you can probably tell from the way I'm describing it, it wasn't what I wanted to do. So I started to look at Monster, where you can obviously find jobs through the Monster sort of platform. I came across an overseas section, which was new to me. I didn't even realise there was an overseas section on Monster, and I came across this property opportunity out in Marbella in Spain, and it was basically selling to English investors, 18 different countries around the world, and it was selling overseas properties. Wow. It was selling
living the dream.
Yeah, definitely. So at the time, I'll be honest with you, in clear bold back letters, it did say you need property experience. I don't know if anybody can relate to this, but I bypassed that and pretty much tailored the CV according to the job. I got the opportunity, but the great thing was, as much as they said they needed property experience, ultimately it was selling a product. Right. And that was something I had a lot of experience with. So that's how I got into property when I went out to Marbella in Spain, and then obviously that evolved to going back to the UK.
The market crashed, right?
It did.
I also was in Spain for quite a number of years, a lead generation company, and really after the recession in 2008, the market fell out of bed. I also moved back to the UK back in 2014 is when I come back. So you sold overseas property, done really well, made lots of money, had a good lifestyle, probably drunk it all up the wall.
Yeah, a little bit.
Came back to the UK, probably tail between your legs a little bit. Exactly. And you then found yourself in a position where you were getting into creative property strategies. So rent to rent, serviced accommodation. How did that come about?
So if you can imagine, when I was out in Spain, I was selling the overseas property, and I came back to the UK to set up a letting agent. Now, it wasn't because a letting agent was going to make me, multi-millionaire. It was the opportunities that surrounded the letting agent that would make me the money. Right. So we set up a letting agent. As soon as I come back, we built that to four agencies deep. And then naturally, we moved into the creative property world. We had a gentleman walk into one of our agencies. I'd love to tell you, Liam, it was a big grand master plan. We were putting together at the drawing board how we were going to take over the world. It didn't happen like that. We had somebody walk through the door of a letting agent, gave us the opportunity to house 100 guys over the next 2 weeks.
Wow.
And that is where it started.
So the pressure was on.
Thrown in at the deep end from the start. We had a frantic couple of weeks getting these properties together, taking properties from anybody and everybody in order to facilitate this order. We had like a big high five moment, like we've done it, we're amazing, we've got there. And then within 24 hours, the gentleman came back in and dropped another 500 guys on our doorstep, and it evolved to a pretty big business.
So just by saying yes to that opportunity, you put the pressure on, you're sort of forced into that creative space, 100%. which turned into some really nice cash flow for you, your business partner, your letting agent. So just so our viewers and listeners understand, what is rent to rent?
Rent to rent is, rather than a traditional property investment, which is either you purchase a property cash or you use finance, i.e. a mortgage to secure the deal, this is not traditional property investing. This is creative property that we're focusing on. So it's actually controlling the asset and re-renting it out at a higher rate, okay? So we offer different services to our clients for serviced accommodation. We take care of their cleaning, we take care of their laundry, and we roll that into a nightly fee. So quite simply, rent to rent is taking control of a property at point A, putting it out at point B and making a bit in between.
Okay, and then obviously getting the landlord's permission that he's going to allow you to use that property as serviced accommodation, also as a HMO, a house in multiple occupancy. So does the landlord then get fixed rent? Is that the responsibility of the rent-to-renter, or as I know you call it, a relocation specialist?
So if you can imagine, so whether you're getting a property off a landlord, an agent or developer, you are taking on that liability of the property, and usually that's a fixed rate of rent that you will pay, and you would pay that each and every month for the duration of that contract.
Okay, great. And what serviced accommodation, for anyone that doesn't know?
Serviced accommodation is an alternative to a B&B or a hotel. Yes, you can focus on people coming in on a 1 night, 2 night, 3 night basis, but serviced accommodation is really catering the market that the hotels and the B&Bs don't, which is anybody coming in for 3 days, 3 weeks, 3 months, 3 years. We can cater people, give them that home from home and give them the flexibility they're all looking for.
So really, if you're catering for that market, the market's quite big, right? What are the type of guests that people would expect to have in their serviced accommodation units up and down the country, and really also what are the best guests to have?
Yeah, by all means. So there's 2 markets that are our target market. One is the leisure market, which is very much the staycation boom that's happening right now. So anybody that's looking to holiday in the UK, anybody that's seeing friends or family, maybe going to a wedding, that's what we call leisure guests, and that's part of this staycation boom. So at this moment in time, that's one element of the market that you can target, people coming in for leisure purposes. And the other element of the market we can target is people coming on a corporate basis. So people working with various industries. It could be working part of the medical industry, it could be aviation industry, it could be construction industry. Wherever they are working away from home, we supply accommodation while they're working away.
Wow.
So 2 markets you can target. If you want me to tell you which one is the best, for me, all day long, it's that corporate market.
Right.
Less problems, less hassle, longer bookings, they'll pay more money, the list goes on.
So you don't recommend your clients they get involved with hen do's and stag parties and that type of stuff? That's not really a professional relocation business setup, is it?
They can do that,
Right,
okay? However, it's not something I focus on because I find there's too many problems surrounding that market. Again, we're going to be taking on properties from landlords, agents, developers, and they're going to trust us that these properties are going to be kept in a good order. Well, unfortunately, if you're catering stag and hen do's, it's not a matter of if you have a problem, it's a matter of when.
Yeah, something's going to get broken, the police are going to get called,
Exactly.
there's going to be, all hell break loose. So I know this is a question that people think, and I'm sure people watching this now will be thinking this. If it's such a good strategy, why doesn't the landlord just do serviced accommodation? So how is it even possible to get these units from existing? Why would a landlord even give a property to us if it's such a good strategy?
Look, it's a great question, and I think it's something that a lot of landlords do think about when I'm taking on these properties from them. Well, actually, I can do it themselves. But the reality is, if you've not got the knowledge, the understanding, how can you do it yourself? Yeah. And I think that's what it comes down to. That's one problem, is the fact the lack of understanding, the knowledge to do it. Yeah. The other problem is they're too lazy. Yeah. They're not willing to put the work in. Unfortunately, guys, it doesn't just grow on trees in this industry. You have to put a bit of work in order to get the result, and a lot of them are not prepared to.
Yeah, and actually most landlords in the UK are accidental landlords, or they're not professional, or they're not serious, or they've been given the property.
Very much so.
And people don't understand the creative property space. They just think single let, I just get my fixed rate, and they don't want nothing more to do with it. And that's perfect, isn't it, for people like me and you and the hundreds and hundreds of people that we train here at Assets for Life and the Agent Whisperer. So the reality is you're not going to get every deal over the line, but you don't need every deal.
Definitely
right?
not.
And the most important thing is to build the relationship. So how do you find these deals, these rent-to-rent deals? Where's a good, obviously you're called the agent whisperer, that might be a clue in it, but how can you source these deals?
So look, we can naturally target through agents, which is my preferred method to get property. I'm quite a lazy salesman. I want to do things the quickest way, the fastest way that give me the best result. So the way I look at it is, if I spend 20 minutes on the phone to a landlord, I may get lucky. He or she may have 1, 2, 10 properties they own and control. But at the point I call, how many are going to be available? 2, 3 if I'm really lucky? So I can spend that same 20 minutes on the phone to an agent who has 100 properties on their portfolio, has 5 offices within the local area, the same amount of property. So from that same 20-minute phone call, I've just accessed over 500 units. So for me, you can work with the agents. That is the best way to do it.
The quickest route to market.
Definitely, without a shadow of a doubt.
One person or 2 people in a letting agent, because really, what does the letting agent care about?
They bring the units to us. They do the hard work for us. Once we can get them on side, they literally bring us the opportunities to say yes or no whether we want them. So for me, that is the best way to go about it. But you can target landlords directly, approach them in order to take on your property. You can speak to developers directly, approach them to take on the property. The quickest route to market, the best route to market by a country mile for me is those letting agents. They have generally a better flow of stock than a developer would or a landlord, and that's why my focus is there.
Now you and I, we've spoken to lots of people in the past. They come to us, they see what we're doing in the property world, the business world, the wealth world, and one of the biggest things that people say to me and you is, I've tried rent to rent, I've tried going into agents, it doesn't work, I can't get any deals. Why would they be coming up against that barrier?
So there's multiple reasons why. One of them is they've not got the correct training in place. So whoever's been guiding them, whoever's been showing them what to do, has clearly not done it correctly. Because if they had done it correctly, people would be prepared to overcome the objections that they've been getting. So it clearly highlights to me they've not got the right training. That's one major problem. The other major problem is that they're not set up correctly. Like any business, whether it's creative property, whether it's a baker on the high street or a shoe shop, they all need to have the foundations in place to the business for it to stand the test of time. And that is something that a lot of people try cutting corners with. You know, not having a website in place, not having a bank account in place, not being associated with credible bodies. All these have impact to your results in this business.
We see it all the time, don't we? And we then ask a few questions. Well, you know, where's your website? Have you got your business cards? What are you saying to the agents? What are you saying to the landlords? And pretty much 99.9% of the time, they have got no idea. And that's really why we teamed up a couple of years ago, and where we decided to launch what's called the Serviced Accommodation Bootcamp, which is a 3-day in-person deep dive paid for property course, which is actually certified by the CPD, the Continued Professional Development. And we created that course because we saw so many people struggling in the marketplace. So you've actually just started day 1 today, haven't you, of the Serviced Accommodation Bootcamp? So there's 23 delegates at the Serviced Accommodation Bootcamp. What exactly are you going to be doing with our amazing delegates over the next 3 days?
So what we're going to be doing, which for me is the first thing that people need to look at, is we're going to be going through the right mindset. So making sure that people have got the right reason why to do this, because look, guys, this business is like up and down, up and down, up and down. And when it's on those down points, you need a good why to get you through it. Now, for me, my why is my kids. So they live and breathe, you know, they're everything.
How many kids do you have?
I have 3 little girls,
wow,
3 little girls that it feels like I've got 12 little girls, to be honest. But no, this is the reason why I'm doing it. I think it's really important that you go through why it is that you are doing whatever you're doing, whether it's to give back to the local community, whether it's to give choices to your family. We go through that key element at the very start because that underpins exactly why we're doing it. We then go through like the setup aspect, which is going through the 10-step system that we give to every client coming through the doors to get them set up correctly, making sure the bank account's in place, the website, affiliate bodies, you know, everything you need to grow this business, we go through in a step-by-step guide.
Wow.
Once we've been through that, we teach people how to identify particular areas that are going to be good for service accommodation. accommodation. We'll show them how to find an area. We'll show them how to identify the actual units that are going to be suitable. We'll show them exactly how to run the numbers on these deals of units that are suitable. But most importantly is we teach people how to approach in the right way.
Wow.
Not only do we teach them to approach in the right way, we then take them through every aspect from the point of presenting to get the deal, to signing the right contract, to going through all the different contracts within the business. So that's going to give you a clear indication on how to protect yourself and how to grow this business and make it valuable, because let's face it, without a signed contract, your business is worth next to nothing. So we go through every aspect from taking the deals on to once you've got the deal. Who do you approach? How do you approach them?
How do you manage it? How do you scale it?
Everything.
How do you do less, earn more? It really is a transformational 3 days, isn't it? And you've had, we have as a partnership, just so many success stories now, so many case studies.
Definitely.
So, we're coming out of a pandemic.
Yep.
I know the serviced accommodation model right now is really, really hot. What makes the serviced accommodation model safe, secure, and scalable in current market conditions?
So the one thing I do love about service accommodation is its exit strategy. Like with every property investment strategy you look at, you need to look at what's your exit. And for me, service accommodation gives you a very, very safe exit no matter what happens. Now, I'm going to be really sort of out of the box here, but let's say, for example, Richard Branson set up an SA unit next door to yours and decides to do £10 a night. I don't care who you are, that'll kill your business in a heartbeat.
Right.
But what would you do in that circumstance? Yeah. Quite simple. You look to re-rent that property out to a local working professional on a permanent basis. So what that means is you're not going to make money month in, month out, but you're not going to lose money month in, month out. Look, I've had HMO properties that have not worked for whatever reason, full of furniture, a 7-bed unit full of furniture. Name one family Liam, that hasn't got their own furniture.
Yeah, exactly.
The exit from a HMO that doesn't work is quite bleak.
So if you had an option of doing SA rent to rent or SA HMO, which one would you go for?
Like, to be honest, it seems crazy because I've actually got more experience in HMO rent to rent than I have SA.
Yeah.
And just let me explain the reason behind that is when I first stepped into the market, what a lot of my corporate clients wanted was this home from home with a fixed permanent address for however many years they're on a particular contract. But what's actually happened massively over the last 8 years is the corporate model, the contractor model's changed. Gone are the days, even though the boss says to them, look, they're down in a job for Wales for the next 3 years, the last thing they want to do is take on a 12-month HMO tenancy, because 2 months into that project, the boss could turn around and say, well, tell you what, I don't need you in Wales any longer, I need you in Elgin in Scotland. And the individual's got a liability in a location that's no longer relevant to them. So what that means is the market's evolved to the point where they still want that home from home, but they need the flexibility in case the boss pulls them onto a different job.
So it's give the market what it wants, isn't it?
Exactly.
And a lot of the UK, like I love HMOs, but there is an oversaturation in many parts of the UK where I feel at the moment there is an undersupply of serviced accommodation units. Definitely. People are not travelling, people don't want to go to hotels, hotel industry is pretty much on its backside right now. People are looking for home away from home. So it's very scalable once you know how. And one of the great things, tell me if I'm wrong, about rent to rent is that you don't need big, people think that you need tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of pounds to get into property. With serviced accommodation rent to rent, on average, how much do you need to get a deal over the line?
Yeah, so obviously we've talked about why I've moved towards the SA side rather than HMO, but the other thing that I love about this business is how easy it is to scale up, because at the end of the day you don't need hundreds and thousands of pounds to secure these properties. You're looking at securing a typical deal can be anywhere from £3,000 to £5,000. Wow. And then on the back of you paying that £3,000 to £5,000, you're looking at generating £1,000 a month over a typical term of 36 months or even up to 60 months. Wow. So you put in your 3 to 5k for the deal, and then literally you're pulling your money back out month 3, month 4.
So let's say you put in £5,000 to get the deal over the line, which is typically deposit, month rent up front, maybe a lick of paint, perhaps a little bit of few furniture. So 3 to 5. Let's say it's £5,000 worst case.
Yeah.
You secure a 5-year term, and you're looking to make £12,000 a year. So one deal can secure someone an extra £60,000 in income over 5 years.
Without a shadow of a doubt.
Wow. So you don't actually need many of them before you start replacing income or having a few more holidays or just taking away the stress. I know that you and I have worked with lots of people, and they've come to us and they're in bad debt. They're feeling down, they're working too hard, they're not making enough money, they haven't been on holiday for 5 years, they're in bad debt, they're living on credit cards. And actually, once they get just 3 or 4 of these, their life starts to transform.
Yeah, without a shadow of a doubt. Like, I've not come across a strategy where you can put in 5k to get 60 back with such a safe exit. And this is the reason why I've been in the business over the last 13 years. If it's not broke, don't fix it. I'm very sort of stern believer in that. And for me, because of the amount of opportunity, it's not getting fewer, there's more opportunity out there. If you think about it, the staycation boom, I've never seen anything like it. The corporate demand, yes, they've been in lockdown, yes, they've been stopped working, but those jobs still need to be carried out. And if anything, I'm seeing a huge influx of corporate clients coming back to the market to catch up with the work they've missed. They're actually bringing in extra guys onto projects to catch up while they've been in lockdown.
Yeah, and there's so much development going on in the UK. You know, people watching this, listening to this, they've only got to look out the window and they'll see flats being built, houses being built, estates being built, because we live on a small island. They're not making any more land. We're overpopulated, and there's a shortfall of tens of thousands of houses every single year, and people are needing this stuff, aren't they?
Yeah, and I think you made a good point there, Liam. So if you can imagine, what I do is I target apartments. So if you can imagine, when you're looking at, say, HMO strategy, you're targeting houses. Now, at the moment, which is the biggest problem in the UK right now, is not enough houses. Plenty of apartments, not enough houses. So what that means is we're targeting an area that they've got the most stock. Not only that is, we're targeting an area and giving them what the current market can't. Because if you think about a 2-bed apartment, it's the most transient unit an agent will ever have, because it's a unit where someone would stay for 6 months, 12 months, then the next person comes in 6 months, 12 months. So what we're doing is we're targeting the part of the market they've got lots of, and we're giving them what others can't, which is long-term rentals.
So the market's scalable. You can get in with literally £3,000 to £5,000, and that doesn't even have to be your own money. You can leverage cheap money. You can go to friends, family members. You can bring on private funders. You know, many of our graduates have used other people's money to get those first few deals over the line. I'd much prefer 50% of something than 100% of nothing, or they raise the money on fixed interest rate of 8, 10 or 12% per year. What would you say, like, if someone's just starting this, they come onto your 3-day serviced accommodation boot camp. Within, say, 30 to 90 days, let's say 90 days, someone, you know, plodding along, how many deals could someone get in, say, the first 90 days after coming to the boot camp?
So the number's endless. It's all down to the individual and what work they put in. Like, if you can imagine, we're going to give you all the structure you need to go out, set the business up correctly. We're going to show you how to get the deals, how to identify good and bad deals. But ultimately, that figure is down to the individual. If you put that work in over the next 90 days, you can do anywhere from 10 to 100 units. Realistically, I think people would be looking at, over that 90-day period, you know, 2 to 3 units being secured.
One a month, just to get started.
Yeah, definitely. And remember, guys, typical length of a rent-to-rent deal is 60 months, £1,000 generated. You don't need a lot of these deals over the line to massively change what it is you want to change in your life.
Yeah, so even on 3 deals in 90 days on a 5-year contract at £60 grand every 5 years, that's £180,000 additional income for a lot of people getting into this. They're not even making that in their current jobs or businesses, and they're working 40, 50, 60 hours a week. So this really is a true high-income replacement strategy, is that right?
Yeah, definitely. And I would say what a lot of clients I work with, if you can imagine, yes, they look at serviced accommodation for the cash flow, but they may have other aspirations, whether it's to develop properties, commercial to resi conversion. conversions, whatever it may be, they've got other aspirations in property. And what they do is they use the cash flow generated with service accommodation to then go and buy units themselves, to look at commercial conversions or whatever it is that they're looking to do.
Yeah, fantastic. Hey, if you're enjoying this YouTube video, please leave us a comment below. What are your thoughts on serviced accommodation? Have you got a question that you'd like to ask Ross Mallier and we'll get it answered for you? Make sure that you hit the like and also the subscribe and the notification bell so you stay tuned for more great videos. So Ross, can serviced accommodation, HMO, rent to rent, people starting out with no experience, or maybe they've had a bit of experience in property, but they have hit a brick wall, can they do this while in employment or running their business?
So naturally, if you've got the opportunity to not have any outside influences, i.e. work and commitments, that's always the best way to go, because it means you can devote more time to it and you can get results quicker. But majority of the clients I work with have other commitments. Unfortunately, they've not been able to commit to property full-time just yet because they've not got the income to support them to do so. So a lot of the clients starting out in this business have full-time jobs or part-time jobs whilst they're trying to build the creative property portfolio. Can it be done? Day in, day out, I've worked with clients that have commitments, whether it's family, whether it's work or whatever it is, but it all comes down to what you put in, you get out. So as long as you can dedicate a few hours a week, possibly even an hour a day to your property business, this can be done in and around paid work that you are
fantastic. So people can start part-time, make sacrifices, not going to happen overnight. You've got to do the work, cut off the TV, get up early, go to bed later, work hard so you don't have to work hard. But this is really just for the everyday person. You haven't got to have a degree, you haven't got to be Einstein, you've not got to go get a property degree or something along those lines. People can literally come and hang out with you and the team for 3 days. Now, a lot of people do look for support after the boot camp. So a couple of years ago, we launched the first ever serviced accommodation boot camp. We also then launched what's called the Serviced Accommodation Academy. So what is the Serviced Accommodation Academy?
So naturally, once you come to the boot camp, we go through every aspect of what you need to know in order to get results in this business. Now, naturally, you've got some people that want a done-for-you service. Some people want that handheld and to be shown practically. We offer you lots of different avenues depending on what you need to support you further after the event.
Great. So it's a tailor-made mentoring, masterminding, 12-month program where my seat fell down there. Where you and obviously the other mentors and Rebecca, Rob Mason, we've got the whole Assets for Life team. We will continue to support people through their journey. Is that right?
Yeah, that's correct. So if you can imagine, some people prefer a bit more one-to-one help. Some people prefer maybe in a group environment. So depending on whatever your needs are, we've got solutions there to cater.
Yeah, and I know you do something as well, which I've not seen anyone else do in the UK, which is your on-patch, which is where you'll actually go out to their location, take them to all the agents, and you make sure you get them at least one deal off the back end of that.
Yeah, so for me, one of the major flaws to the training industry is lots of people telling you what to do. Here's a book, off you go. But as I know, because I need to learn practically as well, that's part of the way I learn things, is without that practical help, without being shown how to, others really struggle to then replicate. So one of the things that I identified early on stepping into the training world was the practical training wasn't an option. It just wasn't there. So naturally I looked at that as a niche that I could focus on. So I've been taking out my staff over the last sort of 13 years, which evolved to then taking my clients onto their goldmine area, target the biggest agents in that area, and take them in physically, hand by hand, but not literally, and show them exactly what to say, what not to say, but most importantly, get that agent on side willing to give my client properties moving forward.
That's freaking amazing, mate. And again, I don't know anyone in the UK, and that's why I feel so privileged to work with you. I'm so excited about our business partnership, our friendship, the way that this has grown over the last couple of years. Huge success, and it just goes to show, as long as someone's got the desire the drive, the why, and they're willing to do the bloody work, which isn't that hard once you know how, they will go and get amazing results. So we always are very transparent with what we do. With every business, there's ups and the downs. Could you just give us a quick fire round, some of the highs and some of the lows of being a relocation agent?
So let me start with a couple of the lows, okay? So if you do not secure the property on the right contract, ultimately your business can be taken away from you at any point.
Right,
so
okay.
it's really key that you understand the contract structure, because that gives you the protection, that helps you sleep at night, that helps you know that nobody can take away what it is you've got. So I think that's really important, that if it's not done correctly, then there's no value to your business, and ultimately that business can be taken away. Now, a couple of other lows within the industry is, naturally, if you are going to be targeting leisure guests and leisure guests only, you do get a few wild stag and hen parties. You do get maybe some people that you wouldn't normally welcome to the property. Well, for me, that's because you're focusing on the wrong area. If you're looking at the corporate market, then you eradicate a lot of these concerns, a lot of these issues. Sometimes you get people using stolen credit cards. Unfortunately, they come via the leisure inquiries. They do not come via the corporate inquiries. So for me, a low is if you focus on the wrong client, ultimately they can cause you problems thereafter, whether it's been a stolen credit card they've paid with, or whether they trash the property.
And I suppose it's the same with single lets. It's the same with all property strategies. You know, if you get the wrong type of guest or tenant in, you're going to have headaches. So do your due diligence, have legal contracts, do it properly. And this is why you've had huge success, because people just follow the system that you teach them.
Well, see, the main fundamental difference, if you've got a HMO tenant in place that's causing you problems, you're governed by the Housing Act to conduct yourself in a certain way. Like, for example, during the pandemic, they said we couldn't evict anyone.
Yeah.
So therefore, what can you do in that scenario? Not a great deal. The bit I love about service accommodation, we're not giving them fixed permanent residence, so therefore
It's a hotel.
We're not governed by the same legislation. So it's very simple. If you have a guest that won't leave, try and picture yourself in the Hilton Hotel not wanting to leave. What would happen?
Yeah.
The police would
The
come.
police are going to come and you get, yeah.
Exactly the same process.
So actually, you know, versus, say, single lets or HMOs, there's a lot less headaches. People are in just for 3 nights a week, maybe 30 days. You get professional cleaners go in. It's very simple and easy to manage with the right software. So what would you say are the top 3 big highs?
Top 3 big highs is the fact that with it such a low entry to market, you can scale this business with not a lot of money. I'd say that is a major high. Now, I've talked about the £1,000 benchmark that I try and achieve on every single property. I slightly underestimate that. So if I was to tell you got 1,000 and you ended up with 1,500, you'd love me for it, yeah?
Yeah.
Well, if you get the corporate bit right, that's exactly the kind of money that you can generate. Forget about your £1,000 net, 1,500, 2,000, 2,500 net on one 2-bed deal just by getting the corporate market right.
Wow.
So again, the big high for me is getting the corporate market right gives you the best possible return.
Gives you the cash flow. So there are deals out there where you could be making £25,000, £30,000 a year from just one property.
That's correct.
Wow, that's amazing. The market's strong. How does it look for the next 1 to 5 years?
Honestly, never seen it as strong. Can't see it going anywhere either. And let me tell you why. The staycation is getting bigger and better every single year. Everything in regards to the pandemic that's happened is like music to my ears for this industry.
Wow.
So that's something that's growing, it's getting bigger, so that's obviously a real big plus for us. And the other side of it is more and more corporate clients are getting fed up with staying in hotels, B&Bs that are not up to standard, not up to what it is they actually need. Yes, if they're coming in 1 night, 2 nights, they'll stay in the hotels, but over long periods, they are simply not designed to cater people in that manner. So the big high is that more and more people are not wanting hotels and B&Bs, and they're looking at alternatives, and this is where we come in and we provide the alternative.
You know what, this has been a fantastic session, mate. I'm just so pumped about what we do, and it's a pleasure to work with you. So anyone tuning in now, what's your Instagram handle?
So Instagram, it's The Agent Whisperer. Just put the tag in, you'll find me. Again, I'm also on Facebook, Ross Malou, the Agent Whisperer. I've got a Facebook page there. You can find a bit more about me. Again, you know, you can find me on social media.
In the groups, go to, you've got a Facebook group. There's also the Assets for Life community. So you're out there, which is amazing. People can also tune into www.assetsforlife.co.uk, and there's a whole section of you on there as well, which is awesome. So, hey, man, thanks for coming in. Let's just keep working our magic, and our vision is to help as many people as we can achieve financial freedom using high cash flowing assets, minimum cash in, maximum profit out. You've been amazing. Cheers, buddy. Thanks very much. Thanks for tuning in to this latest episode on YouTube. If you've enjoyed your time with us today, please make sure you leave me a comment below, hit the like and the subscribe button, and also the notification bell. And somewhere around this video now, there's gonna be more videos for you to watch. Take care.